So, I messed up. I made an announcement saying that I was playing the final game in the punctuation section, and I was. But then when I did a quick check of the Steam store, I realised that I almost ruined my entire channel. I nearly skipped a game. I came literally this close to ruining my series forever. I am so glad that I double checked the next game, and not for the sake of the channel, but because today's game shouldn't be overlooked. My name is Graeldon, and I'm reviewing Steam games in alphabetical order to find the hidden gems among the piles of garbage, and today we're reviewing the second last game in the punctuation section. //TODO today. Let's begin. I think this is the first time I've started a review section with my honest opinion on a game, so that should tell you something. Is this game perfect? No. Is it a crowd pleaser? Also no. Is it a wonderfully cohesive visual novel that explores the world of art, AI, and mental health, all wrapped up in a gorgeous pastel colour palette that will also wake you up in the morning with freshly brewed coffee? Also no, because it does everything except the part about the coffee. TODO Today was released in 2018 by Boys Laugh Plus, and it's the only game they've released on Steam so far. They've created other games, just not released them on Steam. Some examples include Brassica, a Marry Tale, a fairy tale visual novel with a gorgeous art style. Ego Logic, a mystery/horror visual novel. Defaction, a narrative game, sometimes called a visual novel, about societal expectations, and oh my, a rather spicy looking, you guessed it, visual novel called Teach Me Onagai. In case you missed the common thread, visual novels are their speciality, as are LGBT+ themes. TODO Today falls squarely within their wheelhouse, but with a major distinguishing factor: it's completely free. Yeah, you don't need to pay anything for this game, and I want you to keep that in mind as we dive into exploring the game itself. Starting, as the game does, the main menu. I'm gonna say it again, I adore this game. Just look at this menu and listen to that music. Heads up, every single piece of music in this game is fantastic. The music is used to set the mood of the many scenes in the game and ranges from peaceful background music to upbeat and energetic to sad and melancholy, all in a modern electronic style, and all of the music tracks are original compositions specifically made for this game by Eron. Or maybe it's Eron? I'm not good with names. The complete soundtrack is available to purchase as DLC for the game, or you can go and listen to it on Spotify right now. Link in the description, go check it out. Anyway, back to the main menu. This is hands down the best main menu we've seen on the channel so far, simply because it tells us so much about the game. You've got the pen and paper art style, the pastel colour palette, the themes of the game including depression and dreams for the future, and plot points including their landlord, financial troubles, a bookstore, and a laptop with the blue screen of death, plus a glimpse at the different models for the player character on the left. In the options menu, you can adjust basic display settings and various visual novel specific settings, such as how skipping dialogue will work, if you want assistance for certain story routes, and the text speed. Plus, there are separate music and sound sliders. There's no voice lines in this game, so be prepared to do a bit of reading, but not too much, as the game is only a few hours long. There's also a section showing the controls, but sadly none of them are rebindable. I do love that clicking with the middle mouse button hides all the UI elements, allowing you to enjoy the details in the many backgrounds of the game. Now, reviewing the game itself is going to be a bit tricky, because I don't want to spoil the story for you. That is the main draw of a visual novel after all. I'll go over the introduction and touch on some of the key plot moments, but I'll do my best not to ruin anything. The game begins with the main character picking up their newly repaired laptop from the local repair shop, run by Zen. After a brief conversation and some introductions, you collect your laptop and are offered a flyer from a company looking for participants to test a program for them in exchange for some extra cash. You're a bit tight on money and rightfully worried about paying this month's rent, so the offer sounds equal parts enticing and dodgy. This is the first of many choices in the game, but even if you say no, the flyer is slipped into your bag anyway. This is a strength and weakness of the game. There are many opportunities to make choices that affect the conversations that you'll get to see, but not all of them will affect the flow of the narrative. This is great because it lowers the stakes of a lot of the decisions, but also makes it hard to tell which are the ones that will really affect the outcome of a given scenario. That said, you can usually figure it out from context. You can also take as long as you want when making these choices, as with the exception of a few moments towards the end of the game that you are warned about in advance, there aren't any time limits, allowing you to play through at your own pace. The story revolves around the player character whose default name is Teal, and their journey to live out their dreams as an artist. Along the way, you'll meet an AI companion, make new friends while working at a local bookstore, and work to overcome crippling depression that has caused you to become reclusive. But you need to be able to pay your rent, so you'll be tackling the small problems first. Side note, this is also a great tactic for getting started on projects or tasks. Yay for actually practical, helpful advice. As a stand-in for the player, Teal has a fairly androgynous appearance, but you can choose between a more masculine or feminine version. You can also choose your preferences for a romantic partner, if you even want one, and the game will then use other versions of some characters to match your preferences. Teal definitely has their own personality though, they aren't a blank slate, and this can be seen in some of the details visible in their apartment. There's clothes on the ground and an empty pizza box, indicating their forgetfulness or laziness. The fire emblem and Kill la Kill posters indicate a preference for games and anime, and there are plenty of books and other things scattered around that all give you clues about who they are. Did I mention that the artwork is gorgeous? And all of the backgrounds throughout the game are detailed, feeling lived in and lending personality and character to those in the spaces. The characters are also equally detailed with unique personalities, traits, and personal goals that they're working towards. None of the characters feel like two-dimensional caricatures that revolve around a single trait. During your time with the game, you'll meet Joyce, an AI companion, Mrs. Cardover, the owner of the bookstore and your boss, Snow, a young boy and aspiring author, and Phoenix, a fellow artist and colleague. I don't want to say too much more because if I do, I run the risk of spoiling the story. The music, the art, and the pacing are all excellent from start to finish, and there are multiple endings depending on the choices you make and how you choose to spend your free time. So depending on what you choose to prioritize, you may find yourself playing through more than once, especially if you get the ending where you end up homeless. I've been heaping praise on TODO today so far, but as I said at the beginning, it's not a perfect game. There are some issues with the pacing, a few spelling mistakes, and some plot points that feel a bit rushed and forced. But considering that they're trying to pack the entire story into a span of a month of in-game time, I think they've done a fantastic job and I can easily overlook these flaws. If anything, I would have loved for the game to be longer. It would have allowed the player to spend more time with each character, really getting to know them. The pressure of scrambling to pay rent could have continued over the course of a handful of months, while you try to balance work, long-term career goals, and build relationships with the other characters. That said, everything fits pretty neatly into an experience that can be played through in an afternoon. One thing that I want to draw attention to is the way that the game handles the theme of mental health, which can be a difficult topic to portray. I personally felt that it was grounded in realism without being too over the top or self-serving. It's thoughtful enough that it's extremely relatable at times and might make you think a little more deeply about the choices you make in your personal life. I adore games that are able to make that kind of impact. I don't think that there is anything that I would change about the game, and on the off chance that the devs happen to stumble upon this review, thank you. Thank you for making an excellent little game that I can tell you are passionate about, and thank you for allowing as many other people as possible to experience it by making it free. I wish you nothing but success on your game development journey, and I hope you add more of your games to Steam so that I can hopefully shine a spotlight on you again in the future. With all of that in mind, my final rating for //TODO today is Simple Sweet Stacked Pizza out of 10. It's got a weird name, but once you know what it is, you'll love it. It's pancakes. Thanks for watching. Welcome to the end of the video. A massive thank you to all the channel members on screen for supporting the channel, especially our two Knights of the Holy Grail, Freaky Feline and Loveheart Gonzi. If you'd like to become a member, you can do so for as little as $1 per month. Just click the join button to see the available membership levels and perks. Thank you for joining me on this weird gaming adventure through the depths of Steam, and I'll see you next time in the actual very last game in the punctuation section of Steam. Until then, take care.